Hello everyone, Luke here and welcome back to the channel. So you're probably wondering where I've been gone for the past week or so. And I've been working on this. And you're probably wondering what this is, but it's quite apparent because I've got a beaker with a cornflour solution on top, just so I can show it working. But what this is, it's a magnetic hot stirrer plate. And it is awesome. It took me a while to figure it out. I went through two different designs. The first design didn't work quite as well. But this design is like a tower, like it's stacked on top of each other, and it's made out of acrylic, a bit of aluminium, and some more acrylic, and you know, all the bits and bobs are there. So this bottom piece is made out of see-through acrylic, and the reason why I chose this was because I really like the look of the wires. The components of this is literally made up of an old motor that I pulled out of a VCR, and I made the hot plate using our ink, and I'm pretty sure Rob's done a couple of videos on that. And you get the ink at www.workingink.co.uk, which is awesome! So, without any more hesitation, I'm going to turn this all on and give you a little bit of a demonstration of how it works. And the reason why I built this is because it was really, really cheap to build. Well, I say really cheap, I mean like, you know, you get something that does the exact same application, such as, we've got one over there. I'll grab it in a sec so I can show you. But for something like that, you're looking at like, what, 120 to 140 pounds? When I could build this and it does the exact same thing, and I can even heat it up to 120 degrees, which is, whew, pretty hot. I haven't tested that yet, so I wouldn't take my word on it, but I have heated it up to about 60 degrees, and I got a little bit scared because it was a bit hot, and I didn't want to ruin it just yet, so I'm still in the testing phases. But it's all working, so I want to show you how it works. So what I've got here is a lab power supply, which you can see it's turned on, so 0 volts, 0 amps at the moment. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn this knob up, and this machine actually operates at 24 volts. It's a 24 volt machine, and that's just because of the components I had lying about. And it was pretty much a lucky coincidence that the what's it called? the motor runs at 24 volts. So that was just a lucky coincidence, and I didn't have to mess around with that at all. So I'm just going to turn this up to 24 volts, or close enough, you know. It's pretty hard to get it exact. I mean, you can easily, but from this angle it's a little bit difficult. So we're just going to put it on 23.6. We'll keep it at that. As it's basically 24 volts, so it doesn't matter. So I've got all this connected, and you're probably going to see the controllers light up. So this controller here is a microcomputer temperature controller. So this controls the temperature of the hot plate right here, and this can heat up to 120 degrees. Which is, I think I just said that, which is awesome. And then this one over here is a Pwm controller, which controls how many rotations per minute the motor actually spins. So I can have it on 100 rotations per minute. Bear in mind, this motor that I've got is very high torque. So I never really put it up to 100 because it doesn't become unstable, but sometimes if you've used a lab hot plate stirrer, as soon as you turn it up to the maximum it does, the stirrer bar just starts freaking out a little bit. So I'm just going to start turning this knob. You're going to start seeing these numbers go up. And I'm just going to let that stir in for a second. 2 seconds. I don't think I put the stirrer bar in it. I was wondering why it's not spinning. The stirrer bar's not in the solution. Let's quickly put that in there. 2 seconds. There we go. So let me quickly show you the stirrer bar up close. So this is the stirrer bar. It's your average stirrer bar which comes with any hot plate stirrer. I think I mentioned it a sec ago, but I chucked a couple tablespoons of corn flour in there, because when you see videos of people making stirrers online, they usually just use water, which is a bit thin. There we go, now it's spinning, look at that! That is awesome! So I'm going to bring the camera a little bit closer on a above view of everything, so you can actually see the spinning solution, which is fantastic. And there you go, you can see this, the solution spinning away, just doing the application absolutely perfectly, which I'm super happy about. Like I said, it did take me a little while, that's why there hasn't been many videos. But I'm really excited about this outcome. And oops. Let's just turn it off for a second. So like I said, I was really excited about this outcome, and this is actually going to be used in my personal lab. I say personal lab, it's just my shed in the garden. But I was thinking about doing a little series on homemade lab equipment, so I was thinking about doing a controllable power supply, lab bench power supply next, possibly. But I'm going to move the camera, I'm going to talk to you about a little bit more of the information that's going on here, especially with temperature rising and all that jazz, really. So, I'll see you guys in 2 seconds. Okay, so I'm back, and what I've got here in my book is a little bit of information about what's happening here in terms of temperature rising. So, what I did is I took the ambient temperature of the solution, the ambient temperature of the area, and what I was testing for in 6-minute increments is how fast does it heat up this solution. Bear in mind that I only had the temperature controller set to 34 degrees. So I didn't even have it very high in terms of what's going on. Because I could easily chuck it up to 60 degrees and it would heat it up a lot quicker. But I wanted to give it, not a fair comparison, but, you know, not everyone's going to have this at 70 degrees at all times, you know. It seems a bit overkill, especially when you're just only mixing a solution like a bit of corn flour and a bit of water. So, what I did with this corn flour solution is that it had I just set it on the plate once it was all built up, and this had an ambient temperature of 12 degrees Celsius. And what I was trying to measure is how quickly it can heat up the solution in 6-minute increments. That's when I first started, and then I let that go on for, I don't know how long, it was only a couple of minutes, but I came back at 17 past 1, and it risen to 16 degrees Celsius, which was quite a big jump, considering I was only gone for about 5, 6, 7 minutes possibly. And then from there, I timed 6-minute increments, and then kept coming back and measuring the temperature. So at 17 past 1, it was 16 degrees. And then at 23 past 1, it had a temperature rise of 1.2 degrees. So it went to 17.2. And then at 1:29, it had pretty much a 1 degree centigrade increase. It went from 17.2 to 18.1, so 0.9 degrees. Bear in mind that only took 18 minutes to rise from 12 degrees to 18.1 degrees, which means what I worked out was a 1.05 degrees Celsius increase every 6 minutes. Which, you know, that's awesome, considering I only had it capped at 34 degrees. So next, what I did was I actually measured how quickly the hot plate could heat up to 34 degrees. So again, it had an ambient temperature of 12.1 degrees. And then from 12.1 degrees, it rose to 30.1 degrees in the first 6 minutes, which, that blew my mind. I was like, it heats up so quickly, and I can't believe this is just made out of our ink. The hot plate is absolutely awesome, and I can't stress that enough, it's so cool. But besides the point, it went from 30.1 degrees, and it, like I said, it was capped at 34, so I came back about 3 minutes later, and it rose from 30.1 to 34 degrees. In 9 minutes total, it went from 12.1 degrees to 34 degrees. 9 minutes. And I can imagine if I had it on a higher temperature, it probably would have risen a lot quicker. But like I said, I haven't tested that yet. Which is awesome. It is so cool, and I can't believe I made this with my own hands. It's really exciting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a few more tests, and I'm going to do a follow-up video to this video. But either way, I hope everyone enjoyed this video, and I hope it was interesting, and I possibly might make a members video on this, on actually how to build it from scratch, how to wire it up, how to stack it up like I have, and to make a complete finished machine, which the application works phenomenally. It is absolutely awesome, and I can't believe how well it actually turned out. Fantastic! So, like I said guys, I'm going to end the video here. I'll do a follow-up video in the next couple of days on the actual machine, and I'm going to think about doing a members video. So, and I'll see you later.